Crawl tells the classic tale of a woman looking for her father in the middle of a hurricane, and alligators are involved. Critics and viewers are giving Crawl very positive reviews, but can you trust them? Let's find out. I'm actually excited to see this movie. So I did see the trailer. I normally try to avoid trailers for movies, but I think I saw, I think it was a teaser trailer because it wasn't that long, so not a lot was spoiled for me. So I might actually make the effort to go see it. And I guess it's the reviewers right now. The reviewers are going to either have to convince me of my bias, saying that yes, you should go see it, or make a really strong case of why I shouldn't, because I really do want to see this. Our first review is going to be from Bloody Disgusting, or is it Bloody Disgusting? Review: Crawl is the crowd-pleasing alligator in a hurricane horror movie we always wanted. So much goes wrong for the protagonist over the course of this seemingly simplistic horror movie that it elevates the film above its genre origins and transforms it into a kind of breathtaking cosmic joke. So I'm already a little bit, not confused, I'm a little bit worried here. Because when I saw the trailer for Crawl, it just looked like a fun horror film, right? Alligators, a woman's fighting an alligator senselessly for an hour and a half. Sign me up. Now, what I'm worried about this review, and I see this in a lot of reviews, is when reviewers kind of like make mountains out of molehills, right? Like they'll take this like, I don't know, just regular fun movie and be like, oh my God, this is so obvious. This is like, there's so much truth in here, or something like that. So I'm hoping that's not the case here, but I'm a little concerned. That last sentence is what kind of tipped me off to it. But even just in the first sentence, when he says it's a shriek of glorious existential despair, I don't know. It's making me think that this guy's overthinking it, but we'll see.
Have you subscribed yet? Be sure to hit the subscribe button and don't forget to hit the bell. That way you're instantly notified when a new video goes live.
He starts off by telling us the basic premise. Everything we see in the trailer essentially sets it up for us. His first paragraph says it turns the horror genre into a breathtaking cosmic joke. So I don't know if that's a positive or negative for this film. I don't know if he's saying that makes the film good or bad. I mean, the review seems positive so far, so I'm confused on that end, but we'll see where it goes. There's nothing that happens over the course of the movie that goes just right, and every time Haley and Dave are able to change positions, signal for help, or reach their cell phones, something completely unexpected and awful happens. That just sounds like Crawl is a good horror movie. Like, that's what you want in a horror movie. You want to think that, you know, your heroes are safe or incompetent and they're going to get killed, and that's what it seems like is happening here. Oh, so I didn't know that Sam Raimi, or Raimi, or however you pronounce it, I didn't know he was a producer on this. And I just recently rewatched Drag Me to Hell, so I'm excited about that. Which, by the way, I didn't originally like. I mean, I thought it was okay at first, but watching it again, I kind of like, that movie grew on me. I kind of liked it a lot more the second time watching it. So I imagine it's going to have that tone, because it didn't give me the tone of like the Evil Dead series, which is just like horror, but also flat out comedy at the same time. So I'm imagining it's going to be more like Drag Me to Hell, where it's much more subtle. Haley and Dave's personal baggage is incredibly flimsy and easy to resolve. But if this film was full of subplots and nuances, then the sucker punch sensationalism probably wouldn't have come across. It's an interesting example of a seemingly obvious storytelling flaw that actually improves the entire experience. Not every film has to have deep characters or anything like that. It's not, I would disagree here. Not every character has to be well written. Like, some films can be just spectacle. And if you actually focus on what's making your film strong, and your audience knows that that's why they're going for their film, I think that's a good thing. Like, I wouldn't consider that a flaw. Like, having enough for your characters to do to get from one set piece to the next isn't that bad. Now, if every film did that, that would kind of suck. But especially in a horror film, I don't know if I want, well, that kind of reminds me of like a film like The Babadook, where, without spoiling the ending, they made it too much about the characters. You know what I mean? Like, instead of it just being pure horror, it then became more about like the character and her struggles and stuff like that. And I was just like, oh man, that ruined it for me, because I just wanted a horror movie. I just wanted to see something crazy happen. And that movie had some great scenes that like creeped me out. But that ending kind of like ruined it for me. So I'm glad that Crawl isn't going that way. It's a 4-star, 3-star movie, and it's one of the most unexpected and satisfying genre films of the year. So this guy's insane, right? Like, that's just clear. So he says it's a 3-star movie, but he gives it 4 stars. I can't trust this guy. I don't know what he's talking about. And I think the review overall was solid, but he is making a bigger deal about the movie itself. I think he's just hyping it up for whatever reason. Maybe he's just seen a bunch of bad movies or something like that. Based on the trailers, you know, it looks like a lot of fun to me, but it doesn't look like there's going to be some deep, you know, thought into like what it means to go against the world and the elements or man versus nature or anything like that. It just seems like it's a horror movie about alligators, which is perfectly fine. And yeah, there's no need to make it more than it is. Before we go on to our next review, I did want to take a couple minutes to celebrate a special someone. As we all know, today is our favorite celebrity's birthday. That's right, today is Topher Grace's birthday. Topher, from me and everyone here at That Latin Dude Studios, happy birthday.
The film has a remarkably simple but effective premise, a literal monster in the house scenario that sees college student Haley, a struggling competitive swimmer, a skill established right on the outset so you know it's going to pay off later, trapped inside a flooded house teeming with ravenous alligators.
Sum up the film perfectly, right? It lets you know exactly what the plot is, kind of like it lets you know some of the foreshadowing that's going on there.
With its man-eating gators, vicious hurricane, destructive flooding, and roving looters, Crawl could just as easily have been called Florida is Terrible, the movie.
Ha! Oh man, I can't wait for all these Florida's Terrible reviews. Or like all these, oh man, only in Florida, or just a typical day in Florida. That won't get old.
Nevertheless, Crawl is a good time at the movies.
So that's what I don't understand. So it ends up by saying it's a good time at the movies, right? It's a good midnight film to go see with your friends, having a lot of fun like that. This is why I don't like the 10-point scale, because they gave it a 7.7. So what keeps it from being an 8? There was like nothing really negative in that review. I don't understand why it's a 7.7. That's why I honestly prefer like the 5-point scale, because it makes you like pick. Like it's very clear what a 2 is, what a 3, well, except for the last review. The guy said it's a 3, but then he gives it a 4. So maybe for some people it's not that clear. But like a 3 versus a 4, I think we all kind of have an idea there, right? On their actual review, they give it a 4 out of 5. And I don't know if that's really a 7.7. That would be more an 8 or an 8.5 in my book. So I don't understand. I think it's a solid review, but I don't understand why it's only a 7.7. Like, what's keeping it from being an 8? Everything they said was positive, right? And I could easily make a too much water joke here, but I won't. So the first review, that one would go, I'd go in the good pile, but I'm hesitating just a little bit, just to put it in there, because he says that it's this grander thing than it is, and I don't trust him. I don't think it is. I think he's just, I don't know, trying to spice up his review. So it's in the good pile, but it's like a, we'll see. The IGN review, I'll put it in the good pile. I hate that I had that filler in the beginning. I don't know why they just didn't get right to the review itself. But I did like how they broke it up, gave a lot of background to the movie itself and everything. And then overall, it sounded like a positive review and gave it a good score. The only thing I'm unclear about is why isn't it an 8 or why is it a 7.7 specifically? Because there was no real negatives mentioned. So again, that one's gonna go in the good pile. So two, like, they're in the good pile, but you know, it's a maybe. It's they could be tweaked a little bit better. So let's do one more review. Love the intro.
And is directed by Alexander Aja, who also made the French horror film High Tension.
Oh, okay, so I didn't know the director made High Tension. That movie's insane. I haven't seen it since high school, but I remember it blew my mind. If you've seen the ending, you know what I'm talking about.
So the alligators were completely CGI and they looked pretty fake. I was hoping for some practical effects, but no. They're about as tangible as my little friend back there. You just ate.
This guy gets major props because I'm a practical effects kind of guy. And that's one of the things when I saw this, I mean, you know it's going to be CGI and there's nothing else you can do. And I know that going in, that was like the one negative when I saw the trailer. I was like, you know, I wish we were back in the 80s and they did this and you would actually have like an actual, you know, animatronic machine or something. But he lets us know that it looks fake. And that's one of the things I was worried about. But I'm okay with it just because I like the premise. And at this point, I mean, it'll be rare if someone actually does practical effects, unfortunately, but it sucks that they don't seem to be that real. And maybe to the other reviewers, that's not such a big deal, so they don't focus on the alligators that much. But I think I'm kind of in this guy's boat where I'll probably notice it more than others because I like practical effects. So when you have CGI, even if it's good, it's still, I don't know, it just doesn't compare to like something made out of rubber or something mechanical that's moving. It's a big difference.
There's this Australian movie from 2007 called Rogue, and it's pretty damn good. It's not the greatest film in the world, but because they used an actual mechanical croc, it feels way more visceral.
Clearly he's a movie fan. He's already mentioned High Tension. Now he's mentioning Rogue, which I hadn't heard of. That's a movie now I kind of want to see, like practical effects with an alligator. So he's getting major props here. This guy clearly likes films. Great reviewer. Clearly passionate about films. Lots of animations in his review. I really like what he did there. He knows exactly what he's talking about. And he's one of those reviewers who I get where he's coming from, and I agree with him on a lot of points. So he's one of those people I could see myself going back to because of where we stand on certain items, like practical effects. So that's good. So this is, I think, of the reviews we've seen, I think this is the best one. This not only goes on the good pile, but it goes on the top of the good pile right there. So what have we learned today about Crawl? The reviews, at least right now, seem to be very positive. It seems like a lot of people are looking forward to this movie, and they're just looking forward to a nice, fun horror action movie. I think it's a great way to dive into right in the middle of the summer. So that's great, and it seems, I mean, I wanted to see it anyways, so I'm happy that all these reviews are positive and they actually like make their cases for it. One of the key takeaways here: don't make mountains out of molehills. Sometimes a movie's just a movie, right? Like, don't make a movie out to be more than what it really is. Use a system that makes sense. Like if you're gonna give something a 7 out of 10, but you only say all these positive things, that doesn't make any sense. Like let us know why it doesn't reach an 8 at least, right? Like why doesn't it pass that threshold? So use that. Have a solid review. Know what you're talking about. Be passionate about films. That really shines, especially in that last review. The guy clearly knows his films. So that's awesome to see. I don't know what else to say. I don't know how else to end it. Maybe I could do something.